Okie dokie.
It's the last show of the year.
Yay.
Yeah, we got it all in there. Told me what you wanted. We made it happen.
Longest
Had
names.
to do that special.
Oh,
There we
you're
go. Hi,
awesome.
Mrs. Ryan.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
I hurt and I'm very stiff, but I'm so glad to see you.
I'm sorry that you're hurt. I'm sorry that you're stiff. You look absolutely beautiful. It is so nice to have you back in the late night playset. Oh my goodness. We've been gone. I don't know how long we've been gone, but it seems like a bit, hasn't it?
Yes,
More than
feels
usual?
like a while, but it's not probably.
Oh, all right. Well, with that, welcome back to you at home. Tonight is Thursday, December 19th, 2019. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We are in the late night playset, as I mentioned. And this is our last show of the year, of the season, of the whatever. We're pretty excited about it. Our guests tonight are some friends of ours that we've been trying to get here since before we even decided to start doing a podcast. This is the first person I even talked to saying, hey, we're thinking about trying this and blah, blah, blah. What equipment should we buy? Things like that. So get this correct here for the billing. Daisy Alexandra Sylbert-Torres and David Torres are both here tonight. Good friends of ours. We met originally, I guess, at probably Breakfast Club and some of the LA car meets in and around.
Yeah, they've been in my world before I knew you, them in person. So,
What's that?
I feel like they've been around in the entertainment space somewhere.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, we'll talk about that when they
Yeah.
get in here. But there are some great Porsche stories, including rolling down the mountain in one, and and what's going on with his replacement car as well, their replacement car. And then also this time last year, they had a pretty exciting event happen when they had their second kid. And they're going to tell us all about that story as well when they get in here. So that's what's going on. It is our holiday blowout show, so we've got some videos to watch and some material to get through. But that's about it for me. How about you, Mrs. Ryan?
I will add nothing now, but I'm
No,
ready.
I would like you. Go ahead. What do you- Are you okay?
I'm totally fine.
Oh, all right.
I'm totally fine.
You look beautiful. I
Thanks.
love your shirt.
I got my hat. Thank you. This is from my friend at the Tonight Show.
Really?
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
What were you going to say? You got your...
My head's on, and I'm fierce and loving, but I just want to set everything straight for you because I'm involved in things now, and I want to make sure everyone knows.
Let's hear it. That sounds like an announcement. I'm in. I love it.
Sorry, I did not warn you.
No,
ahead
this
of
is
time.
wonderful.
We're just for anyone who has questions, I want to just open the floor to have anyone ask me because I feel like you get a lot of heat for things that you are not even involved in.
Oh, okay.
And whether it's like things that we're doing or gonna have, and like all that's happening, it's all fine. And I don't respond to haters. It's not our thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
But
about. Well,
it's way
that is what it
bigger.
is.
And I just want to invite everyone to ask me any questions that they have. Like, no one has to go through anyone. I'm functional as a human.
I love that. That means we can all ask you what's going on now in the
Yeah.
future. That's fantastic. That is exciting news. One thing I did want to mention, and I don't know if it's related to what you were thinking you were saying, what you have to say later or not. CNN News.
Yeah.
Is it a docu-series? Is that what it's going to be? Because it's a multi-part thing,
It
right?
seems like a docuseries. It's
The
quiet.
The history of late night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just announced the people that are involved, and it sounds really cool.
Now, through Inside Baseball, we had heard through somebody we knew that Bill Carter was working on something like this. And this was like 2 years ago. And that was at the point, remember, we thought we were going to do like a David Letterman documentary. Like there's the thing with the microphone and the J story and everything. That's a separate thing. But we thought we were going to do like a David Letterman type of documentary. And then we heard that this was in the works. And then it seemed like, oh, the real people, whatever. So we sort of pivoted, shifted gears, and here's where we are today because of it. I'm excited to finally see this product come out because we did do a pivot because of it. And it seemed like, is it ever going to come out? What did we get scooped? You know. So now it's finally out, which I'm really excited about because I think the content's going to be good.
I'm super excited to see what everyone else has to say because you're the only one I know that has the rabid affection for late night that you do.
Oh, that's not true, is it? All of the comedy people that I used to
There's
talk
probably
to,
way
all of
more-
your old clients used to.
All of my old clients, but no one ever talked about anything.
I remember I went to a dinner party with you the night I met Dimitri Martin, who I did not know from The Daily Show and I did not know from comedy. But we buddied up and talked the entire night about just like David Letterman and late night and the old days and all this stuff.
He
and I
told
told
you
him the
stuff
microphone
he's
story.
never told me, and vice versa. So like that happens with all my clients. So I'm super stoked to see the late night of all of it.
That's exciting. It's exciting. But I'm thinking, I'm hoping that it gets more attention on the subject. And then, there's some people doing the, all the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. I don't need to talk about that because you're working on it. All right.
I'm involved. There's been NDAs, so a lot of people aren't saying anything.
Right. That
So.
makes sense. Okay, well, we have some ECFs to get through. We have a TBT. We've got the usual stuff. We could do a Dave Watch, but I figured we might do Dave Watch while they're in here just to break it up a little bit.
Cool.
That way
Let's
we can all
do
talk
it.
about it because I think David was a fan too.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so East Coast feeds, Mrs. Ryan.
Let's do it.
I've got two.
Here we go.
Let's check in with Danbury Chive. Danbury Chive, Ridgefield BMW. See what's going on there today. Roll it, Hal.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, East Coast Feed coming to you live from Ridgefield, Connecticut. You know we're at BMW. You know what today is? Today was an ice storm. I know you're not familiar with that in California, but Mr. Ryan, you know it all too well. When cars look like this,
Oh, look at that. It's a sheep.
and it's just
Oh,
layers of ice under everything. So it's horrible. Every car in the parking lot, as you can see behind me, is a sheet of ice, as well as the street and the road and the parking lot and everything else on the planet. So that's it. Welcome to Connecticut. East Coast Feed coming to you live. Later, baby.
Oh man, that's East Coast.
That's the stuff. All right, so it's clearly showing definitely Christmas weather back there. I believe this is holiday party maybe in Ridgefield. Let's see. Roll it out.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, you can see you broke your kid back in the picture. Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, you know Jody and Sarah.
We don't say much.
But they're here. That works out. East Coast Feed from Southington, Connecticut. Broke it off your phone. East Coast Feed from Southington, Connecticut, where Jody's Christmas party for his office is here. And we don't belong here. And we're crashing your phone. Crash. Christ, we're crashing the party.
Stage 5 clinger.
Yeah, here we go. Millennials with the phone. Stop posting pictures. Anyway, we're crashing the party. It's our first crashing of anything. And it's
It's a success.
great success, Alex. It's a crash. All right, we love you guys. Bye.
Oh
Oh
my.
my goodness gracious. What was going on?
I couldn't tell.
It was a holiday party, but it wasn't theirs. I thought it was Jody's and they all crashed it, but maybe it sounded at the end like they were all crashing someone else's holiday party.
I was on board
which I can
with
see.
what you said first until the very end. Then
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I have no idea.
Okay, so the same experience. Boy. Shit. Well,
Get off your phone. Is all I know.
oh man, Brooke has got worse ADD, and I see why they're together now. Worse ADD than he does.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Hey, we're going to do this little video. Okay. So funny. Although he's not dissimilar to me, where it's kind of like, well, give her something to say. And
Yeah. You guys are adorable.
thank God.
I'm with you, Brooke. I get it.
Oh, you're so nice. You're so nice. So nice. So nice. All right. It's time to do a TBT. I don't remember when this is from, but I do know that when I was looking for a TBT, I was trying to find one from the snow. There was one from Christmas last year, whatever. Anyway, while I was hunting for it, I saw one I don't recall seeing since maybe we did it live. So so here we go. Here's
Okay.
a TBT. Roll it, Hal. remember all that stuff?
I hadn't thought about that in a really long time.
Me too. It seems like it must have been a weekend. There are a lot of stuff sandwiched into a weekend, but got erased from my memory.
Yeah.
We were at Sunset GT.
Up at Sunset for downstairs.
For
our friend.
Yep, for O'Gara Coach. Can't say what you just did. Anyway, I thought that was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it.
I love that I got to see Zuckerman again and Marco.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, we're probably going to see Marco tomorrow because we got to stop by TLG after. Oh, so that's another. So we got a flat tire the other day. Not a flat tire. We got a nail in the screw in the tire, which happens all the time. Puncture. So we went over to America's Tire because we bought our tires at America's Tire. Plus, they do puncture repair for free. But they did seem to take a little bit of an issue after having us wait for a half an hour or an hour and checking the car over and putting us into the shop and getting us in the system. When they were taking the wheel off, they were like, "Oh, we don't service the." It was the studs that we had TLG put on the car instead of lugs.
Okay.
So they're like, "Oh, these aren't safe. These aren't safe. We don't service these. They're not safe." And the whole thing was like, I couldn't believe what I was saying. So you remember I was like, first of all, that's not true. And then they got the shop foreman who was like, yeah, just do the whole thing, whatever. So huge shout out to Hugo over at the Norwalk store, America's Tire. I thought Hugo was the manager because the way he took care of business. I think he might have been the shop foreman. I don't think he's actually even the manager of the store because I went and looked it up afterwards. But huge shout out to Hugo. Thank you for getting us done on the way. Long and short of it is we now have lugs on the one wheel because they wouldn't do them back. So they gave us free lugs, but we got to go put the studs back on. I didn't need to say all that. Sorry. That's what's going on with yellow car. Yeah, there's always something. Hashtag it's always something. Mrs. Ryan, it's time to ask the question that is on everyone's mind.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's going on, Mrs. Ryan?
Oh, my goodness. There is, okay, this is a favorite movie of yours and one of mine also that I don't watch enough, Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, I saw it with my dad in the theater, so it's emotional for me, yeah. But
Disney Plus is making it a TV show.
This is not the first time. They did this
Correct.
in the 80s or 90s. After that movie came out, they tried this.
Movies in 89, they tried it in 90, ABC did, and now they're so it's been around for a while.
Okay. The show did not do well last time, but correct. I thought it was a good idea for a show, as long as, like Tom Hanks says, you don't kill the damn dog.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's new. They're using a new dog and a new, not Tom. Well, they tried the original dog in the old show, whatever. It's a refreshment of the characters.
Sure.
And the story's great, so I can't wait.
Can you help me? Was it, he was maybe not a chief of police, but he was a detective in, it takes place in Monterey, actually, up in Carmel.
Really?
Like, yeah, the whole movie. So, like, if anybody goes up there for Car Week, you recognize all the places and everything. But if I recall, he's like he's a detective up there, and there's a murder or something, and there's a murder or something, and then that's how he gets the dog, right?
I believe
it's not
so.
just a detective with a dog. I mean, that's
no.
Canine
He
with
ended up
Jim
adopting a dog that he found at a scene.
Yeah, yeah. And then if I recall, the movie he falls in love with the vet.
Yes, in the movie he does.
Reginald Val Johnson is in that too. I always get that name wrong, but hi Carl, and
from
Die Hard and everything.
Urkel, whatever that show. Craig T. Nelson's in it.
He was the chief of police. Well, in the movie, he was. I don't want to give it away, but he's the chief of police in that town.
I love him, and I just posted a picture when you took me to the coach lot, so I was all on board with the minute I saw.
We were doing a pilot at Universal, and we walked across over to the coach stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, that was a TBT or something the other day. That's right. I saw that.
It's super neat.
I liked your TBT today too, of you in the time machine. That was kind of cool. Past Lives Pavilion. I forget how cool that thing was.
Yeah. Shout out to Aaron Dennison. Old neighbor, upstate New York, just had a kid. Awesome.
The whole Dennison family, yeah. Neighbors with your family.
Yeah. Love you guys. Okay. Autism Speaks is doing a huge campaign this year, and no one knows. what it's going to be, but they're making a huge effort to open some malls early, and they're training mall Santas how to deal with autistic kids.
I saw that so that they can have a more hospitable place to go see Santa.
Yeah, it won't be as bright. It won't be as loud. It's really going to take into account needs of autism kids.
I think that's lovely.
It sounds really cool, and it's all charity, and I love that they're bringing awareness to it, so I wanted to do my little part. Go to malls early for Autism Speaks.
Autism Speaks is a fantastic charity anyway. I used to do a lot of work with them when I had the time machine, speaking of weird tie-in.
Right.
And then we also have done some other things, and I think Jack Jack the scientist from Scientific, he supports them as well. Autism Speaks, they do a lot of, I mean, there are a lot of charities for a lot of things, but Autism Speaks, I don't know. I just had really good experiences with them. Good people, good people organizing. Like you just feel like your money's going somewhere. I don't know. I had good experience with them.
I always see what they say they're going to do, and that makes me happy. Like they're really trying to make an impact, and that's all they do, and that's all.
It's
they
not
need
just a
to do.
shill charity. That was my impression. That's awesome to know. You know, I get a little emotional about that stuff.
Yeah, I do. I'm appreciative they're making an impact. But speaking of free flags, like Aaron is so good at, with me anyway, making everything normal. The Superman cape, one of them, there were 6 originally, but the most recent one sold at auction for $193,000.
Wow, isn't that something? From the TV show, from the old TV show?
From the movie.
Oh, a Christopher Reeve from
Yes.
the Superman film. Wow.
It's second time, and all
You
the
got me.
all you
Who's got you? That
all
whole
you
thing.
Porsche people know more about auctions than I do, but like it's all part of that circuit, and this is one of 6 that exists, and it was all like authenticated and certified and all that. It sounds really cool. You never know.
Profiles in History, probably, I'm assuming, sold it.
No, it was an auction house called Julienne's.
Oh, sure, okay.
I don't know if you're interested. Look it up. Okay, this is the cutest story, and I figured we'd end the holidays here because it made me think of you.
Oh.
There's a couple in Japan. The husband, I believe it's the Kurani family. The husband and wife were had all these plans for when they retired. They're going to travel and do all these things, and her eyesight deteriorated. And she got super depressed and didn't leave the house and was like, basically, F this, without saying it. She's more couth than I am.
Sounds a little familiar.
I figured you might find it familiar because I get curmudgeonly about that stuff sometimes. It is what it is. Anyway, he planted flowers for her so she could smell them and he made the garden bigger so that people would come, so that she could socialize the people that came to the garden.
Isn't that wonderful?
And now there's you can find up to 7,000 flowers.
That's wonderful. I was not saying you were a curmudgeon, but sometimes when you're dealing with something, sometimes it's easy to get down on yourself, and then you want to hole up because what was me, you know? That was one of the reasons we started this in the very beginning, was so that we'll have people come to us. You get to talk to people every day.
I saw a mirror of you in every piece of this story, and it's making me really try to hold on to the positive stuff.
You're awesome. You're awesome, Mrs. Ryan.
Oh, you know.
And that's been What's Going On, Mrs. Ryan. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, that's it, right?
Yes.
We did it? Oh,
Yes.
my goodness. Top of show done. 20 minutes. Holy cow. Right on the button there. All right. Alex and David are going to be in here right after this. Let's get the whole thing. Daisy Alexandra Sylbert-Torres and David Torres will be in here shortly, right after this. More to come. Late Night Playset. We'll be right back. Like a tree down the waves. Okay.
Oh, it's so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by Bears. Garlic and serrano mixed with love and care. You can put it on your eggs, pour it on your rice. It's great on a leg, it's better on a slice. It's oh so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by Bears. Oh, so delicious hot sauce. Great on everything except oatmeal.
Get your bottle today at ohsodelicious.org. $1 from every bottle sold goes to the National Military Family Association.
I was like, I have to take the bus.
Yeah, that's right. And with that, we are back.
It just became real.
It just got real. All right,
Yeah.
well, we are sitting here with Alex and James, Mrs. Ryan, obviously. Hi, Alex and James.
Hi.
Do I have to do the whole? I mean, Alex and David. Oh my God, we have friends named Alex and James. Oh,
That's funny.
everything
It's
about me
because
wants to
you-
start this over, but I'm not going to.
Don't.
Just
Sorry,
because
David.
you didn't say
Sorry,
my
David.
whole name this time, and that's why it threw you off.
Sorry, forgive me.
Yeah.
Please, it is my pleasure to introduce Daisy Alexandra Sylbert-Torres and David Torres. Alex and James. If you knew why that was funny to Mr. Anyway, welcome you guys. It's so nice to have you here. I feel like we're really friends now that you've been in our home with all the people that come through here every day. I'm the most excited, I told you before the show, that you guys are here, and Mrs. Ryan too. So thanks for being here.
Yeah.
And where on earth should we start? Should we start with Porsches? Should we start with baby? Should we start with you guys, how you met, like you're married?
We are married.
Where do you
That's
want
the
to
thing.
start?
Yeah.
We could start there.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're both originally from LA.
All right.
Yep.
I grew up on opposite ends of town.
Yep.
And met at Hollywood High
Yep.
performing arts.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
We went to high school together.
We went to high school together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We didn't date. I wasn't really involved with like high school outside of like the performing arts part of it, or ROTC, because I wasn't allowed to dance. But that's a different story.
You were ROTC, weren't you?
Yeah, I was in ROTC for 2 years
Because your dad.
because my dad was in the military. Yeah, it was funny. In ROTC at Hollywood High, my ROTC instructor was really in the military and was the first Sergeant Smith. Turns out he was my dad's first sergeant in the Army.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
total
so what on
coincidence.
earth would the chances be on something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, total coincidence.
What with the U.S. military being somewhat large?
Yeah, I have no idea, but it was just so weird. And then I became the ROTC teacher's pet, which wasn't fun. But I got to shoot like BB guns inside of school at a shooting range in the like school basement. So
Special treatment?
That's a
Yeah.
pro.
yeah,
I didn't get to do any of that.
All right, so that's not where you met.
Not in the basement. No.
not in the basement, not shooting
we
BB
had
guns.
like a math class together or something,
Yeah,
and then we were in like Winterfest or like some sort of show where like multiple groups performed together.
Multiple
think.
groups.
Yeah, like
You mean like
'cause we
different
had-
cliques? Multiple.
No.
You mean like a talent show? What?
Well, we had multiple levels in vocal ensembles.
Oh, I see,
And then
sure.
we had multiple dance classes, and so we would sort of perform in bigger pageants, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
together. So like for Winterfest, I think every class learned maybe the same Christmas songs, I think, if I remember correctly. And although we never had class together, I think we all performed those same ones at the same time. We just rehearsed separately and then did it.
Yeah, I
did big.
think,
And
I
then
think I'm
each
forgetting that
class.
you guys grew up out here, which is the schools are probably significantly larger than what I was used to. How
Oh,
many
yeah.
people
Yes.
were in your high school?
3,500.
Oh my gosh! So
Yeah.
call it just shy of 1,000 per class.
Yeah,
Based
Wow.
per grade, yeah, I would say. I think only 400 graduated during
Okay, so
my
it's a-
graduation, though.
So okay.
Yeah.
So I will stop stalling this out, but now I have a better understanding of what we're
Yeah.
talking
and we
about.
were
It's
in a
big.
school within a school.
Right, we were in the magnet within the larger spectrum of the school. So,
Guess we're just drawn to each other. Hey,
I mean,
It was kind of like Fame.
come on.
When
Yeah.
you really think about it,
Like a liberal arts.
yeah,
yeah, it was.
there was like
I mean,
kids
it was
dancing
great
in the halls and
all the
like,
time. Yeah, and we had people come sort of to get their break there. So like Pink performed in our quad before
No
she was
kidding.
really
Yeah.
anybody.
And she was Alicia Moore or whatever. her
Yeah,
name was,
I mean, I think she was just starting to be Pink, but like, it was a place that they would like test out people with us, and we would have producers come and sort of troll the hallways, I guess, and like look for kids
Isn't
to
that crazy?
Yeah, to be the next somebody.
Well, but
Brandy
it's-
went to our high school.
It's talent scouting. It's the
Yeah.
same as sports scouting, right?
Right.
But they're just looking for
Yeah.
singers and dancers and whatever.
That makes so much sense. Like, I just hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we went there. I mean, it wasn't what we aspired to be necessarily, but it was a fun experience
Yeah,
for sure.
totally.
I grew up doing theater, and Dave grew up in music, and so it sort of worked.
Did you ever watch the show Fame, or did you people just make that comparison?
I eventually watched the movie. I was in a
Oh, the movie. Oh, even better. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I used to watch the TV show, and then we worked on Everybody Hates Chris, and Debbie Allen was our most popular director, so she was there all the time.
Yeah, she directed episodes of Scandal.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you guys have met. You're in high school, and you just stuck with
We
it.
weren't really friends. We were kind
Yeah.
of acquaintances.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had mutual friends, and so every couple of years
Yeah.
we would see each other randomly in the world, and then
Birthday parties.
Sounds
Yeah.
kind of familiar in that they met, and then
Yeah.
there wasn't really something.
yeah,
But clearly there was something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Clearly there was
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I had mentioned to a mutual friend that there was something on my end. Like,
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too,
Hey, I'm
but-
kind of interested.
If
Yeah.
if she's
Yeah.
interested too.
Yeah.
I mean.
I also said that, but it didn't get back to either of us. So
Oh gosh.
so it's fine. It worked out.
There
Yeah.
was one time she pulled an entire cake out of a purse,
That is a true story.
and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm in love.
You're magic.
Like
yeah.
at a restaurant.
I am magic. Yes.
She was Mary Poppins, and it was
Yes.
someone's birthday, and it was
Wow.
like
Here
an
comes
entire
the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job on that one.
Thanks. I try.
All right. Well, can we say what you do for a living? In that you are in the
Yeah.
costume department in the film industry.
Yeah, I'm a costumer.
Does that sort of play into it? Because you always seem to have a bag of tricks with stuff.
I do
I
have
think
some
so.
tricks. Probably. Yeah. I like
I
to
mean,
be
you came here with a
prepared.
big jug and a bunch of
I
stuff
did.
today, some apparatus.
I do. I have my jug. Nobody knows what that means. This is what camera we're on, but
Water.
this is my jug. Just to be clear, this is the jug. that
Oh
I
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it didn't even occur to me. Somebody might have thought otherwise. We offered her a mug or a jug. She chose
Yes,
both.
I chose both.
Am I gonna
To be
judge?
hydrated. What can I say?
This may be skipping ahead, but can we say why you have to hydrate and why you have to drink that jug?
Oh,
Because
sure.
you're converting, right?
I am converting. Yes.
Water into milk.
Water into milk. Yes. One liquid to another.
Figure now that we know how you met, we may as well figure out how you had your last kid.
Right. Yeah. Should we jump? Yeah. So we.
No, we don't have to, but I mean, I
when-
want to tell that story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a story for sure. If nothing else, it's a story. And I feel like when were you guys talking about originally doing the show? Was it before our first was born?
Ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we should maybe start there. Okay.
Or, no, it was right after. Because
Dawson was alive. Yeah.
Dawson was alive, and I used to feed Dawson a bottle and then leave them in the morning and go to Tranca's or like go to another car event, and that's how we met.
Yep.
But we never really talked until like Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I took pictures of you on the road once. You took pictures of
I
us
was
at
gonna
like
say,
cars and coffees
we
and
were
stuff like
driving
that.
somewhere, and you guys were driving past us, and he was Giddy's a schoolgirl in the front seat. Like, oh, I followed them on Instagram.
Yeah, we did too. That was the same
Yeah,
thing.
and then you guys posted the photo first, I think, and then he was like, "Hey."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What hit me specifically, all of that stuff was cool, and that's great. But there's a lot of that in LA because we're all sort of interested in the same stuff.
Yeah.
What then got me even deeper was I had built essentially a version of our car in the video game, and I took a picture of our car on the screen with in the room of our stuff. And then shortly thereafter, this guy did the exact same thing because he
Yeah.
had built his car in the same game
Yeah.
as well. And it was like the same whole thing. And it was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, we've got two
Yeah.
levels here. So
Right.
at some point, we were clearly met to connect.
Yeah, I remember that day. It was storming, and I was like,
Yeah, we were both inside
we were
playing video
both
games because we couldn't
inside
drive.
driving cars that we had built that looked just like our real cars.
So funny.
Hashtag loser.
Yes.
That's us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the day for me anyway, where it was really more like, oh, there's something here. I was like, well, we got to get to know this guy because we see the car all the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you remember how, or was it LA Cars and Coffee one time?
No, I think it was Trenca's. I was
Oh,
driving. I was trying to find a space, and I hear 74 Doug, and I knew it was you.
Because I hashtagged it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started using 74 Doug. I was like, okay, 74 Doug.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
T-Bone. Hey,
Yeah.
T-Bone. Yeah.
And then I had been going to Newcomb's Ranch for lunch, just going up there for lunch after work, or my work was done on a Friday, and then I'd drive home late.
Yep.
Take the long way home. And then you mentioned that you were going to go up there for breakfast, and I was like, that's actually even better.
That's
'Cause
totally
then
how
I'm
it
not
started.
kind of ditching work. I'm kind of starting my morning somewhere else and then going to the office.
Yes. That's how it all started. It
Yeah.
was just we were going up for breakfast and then it was like, oh, Jose started coming, and then he started coming every week, and then you started coming. It was like this small little core group that was there every week in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was something. I actually went up there because I had fears of the Crest. I had friends growing up that lived in Palmdale, and we used to go through the Crest to get to Palmdale, and we liked driving fast up the Crest. And there was this one time that we were chasing a friend in a new, a new Celica, and we were in a Chrysler, and we were trying to keep up, and I was just a passenger, and we kind of wrecked in the Celica. So I kind of had a fear. So there was a professor run that went up into Angeles Crest, and that was my first time back. And it had been like 15 years. So I just made it a point
The
to
professor got you back on the horse.
Yeah,
How
I
cool.
just made it a point to like get back up there and try to learn how to drive and
Shout out
be
to
a
the
better
professor,
driver.
though.
Well, you also learned to drive stick on the 74 Duck.
Yeah. I bought
I
the
always
74
forget
Duck,
that.
and I didn't know how
Yeah.
to drive stick.
I remember now. Oh,
Yeah.
so how did that work? Because did somebody teach you, or you just sort of
No,
figured it out?
My dad had taught me an old Saab that I was going to buy at one point. And I
Saab?
was like, yeah, Saab, Saab, whatever.
Where are you from?
LA, Hispanic. We say things differently. So he had taught me in this car, and I was like, I'm not going to buy this car. This is just too much. We live in Echo Park, so it was a hilly area. It's like,
Oh,
it's
so
not
you didn't
gonna
want to
make
drive the
sense to me.
stick.
I didn't
yeah.
want to drive a stick, so I ended up buying an automatic. But I always wanted to learn how to drive a stick, and it wasn't until I really got into Porsches and going to like Luftgekühlt 3 and seeing all the cars there that I was like, I have to do this. And I just went out and test drove cars, not knowing how to drive stick. And people
You
had
test drove stick.
Oh, yeah.
Manual cars.
Yeah.
Were you there?
No.
I was pregnant at that point with Dawson, because I remember the game plan was he'd get a Porsche when he turned 35.
35.
But then we got pregnant.
You, not Dawson.
Yeah.
Him,
Okay, that
yeah.
makes more sense.
But then we got pregnant before he turned 35, and then the thought was like, well, I would hate to like put that on hold because, you know, kids are expensive.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, just do it now, and then you won't regret. You'll never regret getting it, but you'll regret not getting it.
Yeah.
Probably true.
So I remember leaving. I got off work early one day and going down to where he eventually bought one,
Yeah.
like real pregnant, to see, you know, the final choice. And he kept wanting me to get in. We kept getting to all these because there was a couple
Oh,
of
there
them
was a
actually.
Targa
There was a
that we
Targa
wanted.
that we liked, and they're just so
was a
they're also
metallic
low.
green
And like when
Targa.
you're that pregnant, and this was like past like baby or burrito, like I was clearly very pregnant, and I just had to keep like getting down to get into it, and like, getting back up. And I remember just being like, "This is a terrible idea," but I am a very good wife.
Well, we remember thinking that you guys did it wrong. I mean, most people do it the other way around. Or not, you know, you sell the car when the baby comes.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I personally just don't feel like you should give up the things that make you happy when you have children, because you give up so much when you have children.
Yeah. A ton.
That, you know, it's still, I mean, it took a while for Dawson to ride in the car.
Yeah.
I don't really fit in it. It's great in Christmas photos, but I'm just all leg, and so it's just hard for me.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a tight squeeze.
In that you're not comfortable. If you're all leg, wouldn't that be good? Isn't there plenty
Well,
of...
in the back seat, it's not comfortable
Oh,
for
my
me. Yeah.
goodness gracious.
Yeah, like
that's what
putting
you
a
mean.
baby
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the front
Of course
seat.
not.
I don't know
Like,
how
we'd have to
Joshy
put-
Robots does it.
Yeah, like we'd have to put Dawson in the front and then
It didn't
put me
occur
in
to
the
me.
back, and then the dog's with us usually, so it's a whole.
And then she's
you know,
sitting in the back with her
Yes.
neck like this and her legs
all
sideways.
twisted. Yeah, it's a
No.
lot. It's
No,
a
I
lot.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
But we've tried.
Yeah, we've tried. And now that we have 2 kids, I don't know. There would be no way. But, you know, point being, it's great. It's working out. It's, you know, 2 air-cooled later. But,
All right, well,
you know.
it's trying to keep on some sort of... all right, so back when Breakfast Club was still pretty small, we talked about... I said, well, we're thinking about starting a podcast. A couple people have asked us if we do
Yeah.
one, and it sort of like led us to like, well, why don't we... Everyone's doing podcasts. It's easy. You can just get some equipment on Amazon and fucking go. And I remember asking you, like, what do you think? How should we do it? And you're like, what are you going to talk about? And we're like, we don't know, because we don't want to just do this or just do that. You
Yeah.
know, typical us.
And here we are.
Do you remember all of that? Do you remember, like...
Well,
I
it's
was,
hard
like,
to remember
so
things when you're
scared
up there
and
because
asking.
everything's so smoky. But I do remember us having the conversation about equipment, and I was like, go for it. Just do it. I've got microphones in my basement that I'm not using. I've got cables if you need anything. And it kind of fizzled out, and then next thing I knew, you were like, yeah, I'm doing it. Like, we're going to do it. I was like, okay, that's awesome. Like, anytime I hear of someone wanting to do something creative, I'm always going to encourage them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if someone's motivated to do something, why bring them down? Why, like, talk them down from it? Like, just help them push forward. So I'm so happy that you've done this. Like, I'm pretty impressed. Yeah. Super impressed.
Can you believe that it's this? I mean, it doesn't look the same on TV, but we're in the same room that we've always been in.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't look the same at all.
Yeah.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
I told you that was really due in part to the desk and chairs arriving, because when they
Right.
did,
It changed
it
everything.
looked,
Yeah.
it just looked ridiculous. It looked so ridiculous that we had to go. I mean, we wanted to eventually get to this. We just thought this would be like a couple years down the run and somebody else would be paying for it. It would be in a studio.
Right. You know.
All right, so
made it
somehow that
work.
got talking about us. Sorry about that. But the reason you even knew any of that stuff was because of music.
Yeah.
I know that you're doing some stuff now that I'd like to talk about, but also where did the music stuff start with you? Why is music important to you?
So I grew up in a very religious household, and we went to church 3 days a week. And,
Oh, very religious.
Yeah, very religious. 2 times on Sunday, sometimes 3 times on Sunday.
So if it was only 2 times a week, would that not be very religious?
I would have challenged it, but I'm now going in full agreement. This sounds
And how
very,
many times on Sunday, though?
Up to 3 times on Sunday. So there was like super early morning. My parents were in the leadership at church, and then there was regular service. Then everyone goes out to lunch, and then comes back for the night service. So I would always sit by the stage at church, and it's kind of a mega church, and there are 2 auditoriums. One seats 3,500 people, the other one seats 1,800 people.
That's a mega church.
And it was the largest Hispanic church in LA at that time. I don't know if it still is, but it's in Echo Park. Just look up Sister Amy or Foursquare. But I grew up within the organization, and you just had to get involved. You can't just like sit there and just worship the whole time, because you kind of get tired of it. It gets old, especially for kids.
Right.
And they had, and they had a really good music program. Like all the worship people that worked on stage and sound people were really proficient in what they did. And I just eventually got my hands dirty and moved equipment, and then ended up working on the soundboard, and then became a worship leader.
The best musicians I know and have ever met all came up through church, through
Yeah.
worship,
Mm-hmm.
through gospel, just the type of play, the connection to the source or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but
Yeah. I think
the
it's
like riding a motorcycle in the dirt. If you grew up in the dirt, you can ride anywhere.
Yeah, and it's also
Right.
the practicing all the time. You're
Maybe that's it.
performing. You're worshiping, but you're also performing it. You have to play it well. You can't just like go up there and wing it. And there were a lot of different worship leaders growing up in the church that would take me under their wing and let me play keys, or let me play bass, or let me play acoustic rhythm. Or eventually I was in a youth choir that like started touring all over LA.
Wow.
And then it just grew from there. Eventually when I left the church, because that's a different story, but I left the church because things just weren't working out at that location. Went to a different church. Things didn't really work out there, but I just
You're
left
so
music
funny.
altogether, found a different career path.
At least for a bit.
Yeah, for a bit.
At least career-wise, maybe.
Yeah.
But you're getting back into. You've kept it alive.
Yeah, for many years we owned a boutique in Echo Park called Feeding Birds Boutique, and we were heavily
Mid-century
involved.
stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
We were very involved with the Echo Park Art Walk. We're kind of not co-chairs, but like a huge part of it. It was one of our employees that wanted
to
like,
start
to start it, and we kind of pushed her to do it.
So we helped her organize it. I'm trying to think. We did 2 the first year. I want to say we did 4 or 5 in total. I can't
Yeah.
remember, but it started with like 8 businesses, and I want to say we were up to something insane like 50 by the end of it, because
Wow.
it just kept stretching further and further, and the map kept getting bigger and bigger, and then it sort of got too far out of our reach.
It got
and
big.
then it was hard. People would complain that they were so far out that they weren't getting enough foot traffic, but we
You
couldn't
can't have it
control
both
that.
ways.
You
we
know,
had
It's-
food trucks. We have like
yeah,
It's the local
visual
cult,
arts
complaints.
Yeah,
Right.
We had,
How big can it be and still be the thing that it is?
Totally.
Yeah.
We had
And
live
it was
bands
great,
performing in our
but we had bands, and
driveway.
so that's sort of where Dave kind of got back into it a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
we had a home recording studio, so if we had friends that were in bands, he would record for them.
I would record demos for them.
Yeah, we would
So you
like
were
screen
always
print shirts
stayed
for them.
in and around it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds so familiar, doesn't it?
And you were in a couple of bands, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
was
never
like-
really applying yourself to actually, like,
It wasn't about
it was always going to stay a hobby.
Yeah, it was a hobby.
Okay. Right.
I didn't want it to become something that would disappoint me again, because I had already been in a band that, we were on
Heart-wrenching.
the verge of like going on tour and
you
getting
wanted that.
signed, and I really wanted it at the time, and it was just so disappointing for it to like fall apart right after you hear that like you're on this compilation album and you're going to go on this tour. We're recording this live album.
It's that thing you do. It's when they're
It's
like,
like-
oh, they're going to
Yes.
go and they're going to go to
Yeah.
the coast and make a movie, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had already toured with
It's a good
like Christian
reference.
bands locally and like up and down California coast. We had flown to Mexico and played in plazas and like done a bunch of other stuff like that. So
grief.
it was the progression of everything that I had worked towards, and it just like crumbled. Just one day, just everything just fell
God,
apart.
that's
So I
how
never
old were
wanted
you?
to get back into it.
When that happened, when it sort of went away.
I was young. I was like 19.
Gosh,
Yeah.
it's an impressionable time, isn't
But I had been on stage from like the age of 13. So from 13 to 19, I was on stage.
You were already
every
seasoned.
week. Yeah.
God, that is so wild.
And you've played music a lot longer than that. I
Yeah.
mean, the piano you had at home.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't
Well-
let me go outside and play piano. I mean, go outside and play with kids because it was like a
Gangster
bad
kids.
neighborhood. It was Echo Park back in the 80s and 90s. So we had this piano that we rescued from my aunt's house that had burned. And I taught myself how to play piano by ear and just like listening to music and just trying to like.
One of the more
things
recent
out.
times I saw you was at the Montijo's house, and
Yeah.
they have a lovely, beautiful piano.
Beautiful piano.
And I heard you play, and I was so impressed with how good you were.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I still think I'm just mediocre. I play
He
the
says
same
that too.
songs all
Y'all
the
are
time.
modest. It's
Yeah.
fine. You're
Yeah.
both great.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
read music. I can
can't-
just play anything I've ever heard, which is probably similar to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear a song and then like I know what the melody is.
Yep.
I can break down
You
the
can
melody.
deconstruct
and-
it.
Yeah, but it was never something that I wanted to. I didn't want to be a pianist. I wanted
Right.
to be.
But you
I wanted
can
to be
do
a
that
bass player
with
for whatever reason.
Really?
And my
bass.
parents were like, "No."
Is that what
But
you're
that isn't
doing
even-
now?
Piano.
That isn't even what you originally. I mean, you played guitar.
I played guitar.
But the band needed a bass player,
yeah,
But then he got
and
into it.
so he became
so
a
I
bass
was like,
player.
"All right, I'll pick up the bass. Can't be that difficult."
No, nothing wrong with that too.
Yeah.
But so okay, well, should we just tell? I mean, the professor and
Yeah.
and Motor Co. Kevin and you. And
Yeah.
Who else? Anybody else?
It's-
think that's it.
Just the three of you right
Yeah.
now. All right. Are have started a band.
Yeah, and because of
Or
that,
are starting a band.
We're definitely starting a band. They've already started practicing without me, just because I've been at home
Yeah.
being Mr. Mom.
Right. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
But I had a giant Ampeg that I had to get rid of because it just didn't fit in any car. And if we're gonna be a Porsche band, I want to be able to like
Yep.
lug my equipment in my air cooled car, so this like giant 4-stack 410 speaker
Oh,
Ampeg
Lord.
isn't gonna fit anywhere. It didn't even fit in the Macan that I had borrowed at one point. So I downgraded
It
and
really
I have a
fit in our
smaller
house.
Ampeg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Barely fit in our house.
That thing has floated around from like studios to people's houses. to
Also, the equipment
garages.
doesn't need to be that big anymore
not
for what you're
anymore.
doing. No,
Yeah.
they can move so much more power through smaller pieces.
And I think we've had it in 4 different, like, 2 apartments and 2 houses.
Yeah, and it just keeps rolling around, and every once in a while it gets used. But yeah, for a long time it was stuck at some guy's studio because I never picked it up, and eventually I was like, I gotta get my equipment back.
Well, so what's the plan? Are you guys
Kind
going
of
to
like
be
our
the new
Insters.
house band for this show? No. What is the? what
That'd
do
be
you
fun.
guys-
I was actually thinking that today when
It'd be
we got
awesome.
here. At least an episode or two.
Because Kevin wrote the theme song for that we're using currently
Yeah.
a long
that.
time ago, literally way back when when there was a changing of the guard. So it's that old from that, and it's why we're using it. But we would certainly change it if you guys had something else.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. I
All
have to
right.
talk to them.
Cool. I'm excited for you. I think it's great. You know, Kevin has been around the musical block before, and so
Yeah.
has the professor.
Yeah.
In different
Different ways,
capacities. Yeah. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying here is like, be careful what you wish for, because this could become a thing. That's sort of
Yeah.
how this group is. You
That's
know, we
what
kind of
it
like
would,
we
and then I
flash a
keep
little
telling
idea out
him.
there, and then
Totally.
it's like a what the fuck, and now here we are.
Yeah.
No, totally. I didn't think that, and then I heard Kevin's songs.
He's
and
good.
and I was like, holy crap, like how are these not on the radio now?
Right.
So I like made it a point to like teach myself 5 songs a night, and I taught myself just in our home studio, because I still have a small setup, and I would just play with them, and then like, you know, baby duty kind of took over. But
Sure.
I think next year
Yeah,
I have
he
a couple
seems,
months.
2020.
He seems real hesitant to get back into anything that's going to take up a lot of time.
This one does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Well, that's
we don't
understandable.
have a lot of time. You
No.
know, I work, he works, we've got 2 kids. We have a real neglected dog. We have a cat who's just fine with us neglecting him. And the cars take up time too.
All right. Well, bouncing around then, back to Breakfast Club. One day we were doing I think it was a Breakfast Club, and you didn't make it, and you said, "Oh, I'm not going to come today." Okay, great. And then, oh my gosh, this is important. It was the day this stuff arrived.
Yeah.
It was literally the day the shipping company came with this stuff, and we had gone to Breakfast Club, and we'd come back down the hill, and we're so excited, and the whole
that
thing.
day. Holy
and
cow.
and this guy had come, and the stuff was in the living room, and then I got a message from Freddie, owner of Newcomb's, saying, "Oh my God, Jay, is David okay?" And I was like, "David who? What the hell is this? I mean, my life's great. What are you talking about?" And I looked at the pictures, and I was like, "Oh, he thinks this is David Torres." And I zoomed in and saw the stickers on the glass that I helped you put on.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
What happened that day, David?
So
The day the 74 Duck
Yeah.
went down.
so Thursday evening, I get a call from a client that they're a law firm and their equipment was down. So just so people know, I work in, I sell and lease hardware for law firms, financial institutions, and for entertainment companies. So print equipment. So I consult companies on printing. And they needed, it's so stupid, they needed toner. So I was like, okay, we can't overnight it at this point. I don't have a technician in that area tomorrow morning. I'll drop it off. So I didn't go to Breakfast Club, so I can go to the office, work a little bit, and then head over to this client out in Lancaster.
Right.
And on the way back, it had been raining in LA that whole day. But it was clear in Lancaster. Like the sky was completely clear, not a cloud in sight. The sun was out. So I decided to take the road that I hadn't been on in a long time, which was the Lancaster side of the roads that lead up to Lower Tahunga and Upper Tahunga, where I had my
Coming
rec.
in from the Palmdale side when
Right.
you were a kid, right?
So I hadn't driven past that wreck site in like 15 years, and I decided that day to pass.
I didn't know this part.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
That's how weird it is, because I was a passenger on the other end, and then eventually wrecked on the end closer to home. So I drove up. It was clear. I got to the top where you eventually get to Angeles Crest Highway. I drove down. There's that fork in the road with that rest stop on the left where there's like park rangers.
Angeles Forest
And,
Highway.
Yeah, it started getting foggy and stormy. So I slowed down. Eventually caught up with some cars that were much slower than me. And everything was fine. It was just like a slow cruise down the hill. I wasn't really driving recklessly anymore because I usually do that when it's clear.
Right.
He doesn't mean that.
Yeah. So we got down to the bottom. We're at that first light, which is the last light before you head up.
This is
We're
the country club. Yeah. There's a sweeping bend there.
Yeah, so it opens up into two lanes, and it's still raining, and I pass two cars on their left
Where it
to go
opens
around
up,
them.
yeah.
It opens up. I must have been going like 35 or 40 from a stop.
Because you were at the light.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
That's important to note because somebody could be cooking around that bend. But if
Oh,
you
yeah, I've
stop at
seen
that
that
light,
happen.
you can't be going
can't
very
cook it.
fast by the bend. It's
and
there.
it also doesn't open up till you're almost at the bend. So I was almost at the bend, passed them on the left, and as I'm passing the car that was the slowest, which is the first car, because we were three vehicles, my car just like completely lost control. I tried to correct the steering, and it was like nothing was there. It was like air. No sound, no road feel, and you could usually feel the road. And
Sounds like it was
Must have been the
hydroplaning.
yeah.
Like,
Must have been the weirdest shit ever. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
yeah, and everything was super slow, and it felt like it was going to be okay, but I hit the side of the hill, and that's what scooped up my front end.
The front dug in, right?
Yeah, and it scooped me up, and I just started rolling, and I remember seeing the sky 3 times.
So we're coming around the bend this way, and then something happens, so it shoves the front into
the hill.
because now you continue the spin, and then that
And then it just-
that is what
yeah.
Yeah.
And then over and over again.
Yeah.
at least 3 times you said.
Yeah.
At
You
least
counted
3 times.
sky at least 3 times.
Yeah.
It sounds like a cartoon.
Yeah, looking
felt
at the
like a
car
cartoon.
rolled and rolled and rolled.
Yeah.
It didn't
Like-
feel real.
When you're like, just when you're describing the feeling of it, I was like envisioning like Roger Rabbit, like turning a steering wheel, like
Yeah.
Right.
attached
yeah.
to
and just
nothing.
attached to nothing.
When I initially hit the side of the hill, it was like, oh, the front end, and then it was like, oh, okay, I'm seeing floor above me through the windshield, and then the sky, and the floor, and the sky. So eventually, the car stops. All the cars stop. I couldn't open my doors. I had to open the sunroof. Climbed out the sunroof. I was
Climbed out the
fine.
sunroof.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was fine. It was just
Well,
like
it landed on its wheels.
Mhm.
Right.
the wheels that were still there. 'Cause
Right.
There were only 2 there,
That's a good point.
and I still don't know.
Do we know why? Was it the wheel that maybe cracked?
I don't know. No, well, when the police got there, they were slipping around. It felt like there was something on the surface
Oh,
of
okay.
the road. And someone had stopped and said, "Oh, you crashed here too. There's rumors that there's a resident that's spraying something on the road." I don't know if that's true.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
if the cops believe that, but some bystander, someone that was driving by, mentioned that to us and the cops. First responders were shocked that nothing was wrong with me.
Like
I
3
was
days
shocked.
later, he came out of the shower and he was like, "Look, I found a scratch."
I had
and
a
like
tiny
pointed
scratch
at
in my
his
calf.
calf. I was like, "Oh, look, you found a scratch."
Holy goodness
I mean, his
gracious.
glasses were like shattered.
I had a briefcase with me with all my client files. They were all over the road, and some guy in a pickup truck stopped, and he like picked every single document, every contract up,
Awesome.
all my client files.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of those wheels was never even found.
No, we
correct?
never found
I
it.
mean, it went.
Yeah,
It's gone.
it's gone.
It's in the pool of the country club, guys. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Who knows? I went back and I looked for the wheel just on the road to see if I could find it, and I never found it.
No, yeah, that's so weird. Wow. Well, thank God you're okay. And
Yeah.
then you were okay. And that's
I was
the
fine.
The answer is you were okay.
Yeah, it was just a really freak accident. I wish it hadn't happened, but then again, I'm kind of glad it did because it's just a reminder of how like delicate life can be, and to like respect the Crest, you know? Like I wasn't lead footing it. I wasn't like driving fast, but it was enough to remind me to respect the Crest. And when I go up there, like count my blessings, like be
That's all it
respectful of
takes.
the Crest, be mindful of other people on the road, don't cross the yellow line. So it was like a just reminder of like all these things that
It's
we
all
all
the
know.
stuff that we preach, yeah.
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 I mean, the whole group up there is so respectful.
Totally.
I mean, I think that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons we're allowed to, go up there every week
Right.
at 5 miles an hour over the limit.
Right.
Okay. All right. Back in town now. Well, should we? Because there's kind of a tie-in here. You mentioned that the first car you got right before Dawson was born,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then this incident happened.
Right. I went home and started looking for another car.
Like right away. Yeah.
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 Did you? And then how did the timing of it all work out? Because
So,
I don't believe
I had
we
been
knew.
shopping.
I don't believe we knew other
No, we
information about
didn't.
Alex at that point.
No.
You had one kid and one Porsche, and you just wrecked
Yeah.
that Porsche.
Yeah. So that day in my hunt, I found a bunch of like Cayennes and Macans. So I was like just saving cars that I like. And I don't know why I called the dealer and I tried negotiating over the phone. I usually negotiate over the phone before I walk into the dealer. It's just smarter that way. I'm in sales. I don't want to waste the sales guy's time. I don't want to waste my time. I'd rather get to the point and try to figure out if we can meet somewhere in the middle.
Guys, he
where
loves
it's-
it.
Where it's fair for me and for the sales guy.
Like, I don't-
100%. That's a good
I don't
deal.
know if you
Yeah,
understand
that's good
how
business.
much he loves it.
Yeah. Just the hunt.
No, he loves negotiating with them. Like he loves the whole thing. It's why he likes his job because he gets to win.
No, but it's also a
something.
win-win. The
That's a good business
the
is a
customer
win-win.
Gets what they need and
Sure.
what they want,
Sure.
and at the end of the day, they sign the dotted line because what
Mutually
they're getting
beneficial.
works for them and is fair. And it's also fair for me because it's
Well,
a
I'm not
new
saying that
client.
you win
Every
with your
time?
clients.
I don't
I'm
want to
saying
get stuck on this.
sorry. I'm saying you win like other bids or whatever, like from
Yeah,
other companies.
totally.
watching someone else do it.
Really?
So that day I hunted for a car. I found a Cayenne. I saved it. I didn't find any air-cooled cars, but I figured maybe I'll get into a Cayenne. And that was Friday. Sunday was Mother's Day. So we were thankful that I was still around for Mother's Day.
Yep. Big deal.
Wednesday morning, she's
day,
getting up.
you know. obviously.
to go to work, and she wakes me up, and it was like, Dave, you're gonna be a dad again. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like, we're expecting another kid.
I don't remember that at all, but
You
okay.
don't remember waking me up? How do you remember it? Because
I don't. I've never thought of it.
Wow.
I've never. Even
I
thought
remember
about
it because I was like, I'll go buy that Cayenne today. I seriously
That's
got
hilarious.
up, checked my
Because now I have an
emails.
excuse to get a baby
Yeah.
mover.
Yeah.
I checked my emails and I was like, we're having a second kid. We have to lug like maybe a second stroller and all these extra bags and
Yep.
toys and second car seat. I'll get the Cayenne. So I called the dealer again and I negotiated and I got the price I liked.
Yeah. So, but he traded in his daily driver,
Right.
Yeah.
and then did that. So he
'Cause
was
I figured
still on
it
the
would-
hunt for.
I was still on the hunt
The
for an
one.
air-cooled car.
You know.
I just didn't think I'd find one as quickly as I did because I found one within 30 days.
Yeah, and essentially got it again, the same thing.
Yeah, I got another
You keep getting a
guards-
brand new 911 right before you have a baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Both. Guards red.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so 74 Duck RIP. Guards Rad is a beautiful car that you love very much, but we had some
Right.
engine issues. But you've
Yeah.
taken all of the stuff apart and out, and you're about to go take it in for service.
I will say that if it weren't for Joe Maxwell and for Kevin and for Nico over at Sublime, I wouldn't have been encouraged or have the motivation to take it apart myself.
Oh, that's
To try to learn it because these
Yeah,
guys
they just,
were like
came
super
over
hands on.
and helped and.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's so
yeah, so
awesome.
Breakfast Club has introduced me to a lot of really cool people that are super helpful.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Shout
so
out to those guys. That's
Yeah,
so
definitely.
awesome.
Joe Maxwell and Kevin came over. We took the engine
Kevin
apart.
Hunter.
Yeah, Kevin Hunter. We took the engine out. We separated the car. It was in my driveway. I didn't know what I was looking at. These guys knew what they were looking at.
Yeah.
And they really helped me out along the way.
That's so awesome.
and then
man.
anytime I needed like a tool that I didn't own, Nico would tell me either what to buy or tell me to come by the shop and borrow it.
You guys
So
are a good
awesome.
group.
Yeah.
I love stories like that.
Yeah. So Guards Rad will be back on the road at some point.
Yeah, it's disassembled in boxes now. I boxed up more than half of it in my driveway last night. I ran out of daytime or daylight, so I'll box up the rest this weekend. And I found a builder that was recommended by people over at Breakfast Club.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can't
Can't wait for that. And I
Yeah.
love that you're still coming up anyway, because you've even gotten a different daily driver again since that car.
Yeah.
You're back to you're
well,
in a Beamer
it
now.
was a lemon.
Yeah, that was a whole
last
that was
car
a whole
lemon.
thing.
That was a little special.
That's a story for a whole nother day.
Yeah, that's-
because there's so many facets to that one. But what we need to get to, and we're already over the hour. Don't care. I want to tell this story.
I mean, we could come back to that story. It's fine.
You want to come back for
I
that
mean,
story?
it's up to you.
I think we should. I think we should tell the
Tell
story.
the story.
I would like to know
Nicole's like, I really want to know.
I do.
how. Well, okay. This time last year, we saw you at the last Breakfast Club of the year. We had our Santa hats on, and it was just adorable. Everything was great. You were there,
Yeah.
and it was okay. Well, next time we see you, in a couple weeks, like maybe it'll be next week, but Alex probably won't, and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it might have been like the next day. So what happened?
Well, what happened was we inadvertently had our second child at home before the paramedics arrived. I've watched 6 seasons of Call the Midwife, so I
haven't.
know what to do. It was real intense. I feel so silly because I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to be a bother, and so I didn't want to get to the hospital super early and have them send us away. And it's hard when you also have a toddler with you, because we ended up having 2 under 2, which also karma, because I
They don't
talk
recommend that, right?
so
Don't
much
most
smack
people not
about
recommend
people that have done that in the past, and like, hey, look, it me. But it was actually, I don't know. We were very lucky to have both of our kids, and it took a long time to get pregnant the first time, and so we thought, let's have this other one before I'm too old to do it, or I'm too whatever, or we don't have time, or
Well,
it
let's at
doesn't
least try in the
happen.
meantime.
Yeah. So, so we were pregnant much faster than we expected to, but I'm really, as our kids have been getting older, I'm really happy with the age gap, because I feel like if it were, I could have gone she was 2 weeks early, so I could have gone 2 more weeks,
Right.
and he was 2 weeks early, so I could have gone 2 more weeks on that too. Could have let them marinate a little bit longer. I'm happy.
You must just run hot. You must just cook a little
was
warm.
ready. Yeah, I was
think they
real
wanted to
ready.
hear the
They're also
details.
big kids. Okay.
But
So yeah.
So
this
how it
wasn't
happened.
planned. We
No.
didn't plan to have a baby at home. So
No, I guess I was in labor for 2 days and didn't realize
you
it.
really don't like to complain.
No, we.
Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
She had an OB appointment
I had
that
an appointment the day before.
Was it the day before?
It was on Thursday.
Okay.
And my OB was out of town for the holidays because, Christmas. And for weeks I was like, guys, she's going to be early. It's going to be a thing. And they're like, don't worry, you're being silly. Hold your roll. So I went to this appointment and I told them, I was like, hey, these Braxton Hicks, which are the pre-contractions to get your uterus ready to, have a baby in there. I'm like, they're getting real intense, you guys. Real intense. And the doctor was like, oh, well, can you walk through them and talk through them and
continue
to do? And I was like, yeah, it's not like having a baby. It's fine. And she was like, okay, then you're good.
So the
next
day,
day,
if I may though, because it wasn't Braxton Hicks. It was really
oh
labor.
no, that was real
It was
labor,
really
guys.
labor.
Yeah, I was in labor for 2 days. And then they kept saying if they're not timing out, time them, and if they're not timing out consecutively at 5-minute increments, then it's not labor. And I was like, okay. So there'd be one at 5 minutes, the next one would be 20 minutes, and then 15, and then 7, and then 30, and I'm like, okay, it's just Braxton Hicks, fine. I got a toddler who's crawling over me. Also, she was trying to kill me from the inside out because I also got low blood pressure and vertigo from it, so I was fainting. It was a whole thing. It was super fun.
It wasn't fun.
No, it was not fun.
There was one time we were at Breakfast Club and we're talking to Kevin Hunter
Yeah.
about parenting.
I didn't hit the floor.
And she looked at me and I was like, oh, she's going to pass out. And she passed out and I had to hold her at the
caught
bar
her at the
stool.
bar.
Yeah.
And Kevin was like, I guess she didn't like my parenting story. So I
He
was like,
literally thought, no, you guys, he literally thought that I had tuned him out because he was telling his kid that if he didn't stop whining, they were going to leave. And I was just blacking out. Yeah. I didn't know what was happening.
I came around right after this happened.
He was so relieved to find out that wasn't why I started to ignore him.
Yeah, so that would happen a lot. So she would
all
get
the
these, she would stand up or she would just be laying in bed and the world was not just spinning this way, it was spinning this way.
This way as well, yeah. I continued to work through that. And everything, all the doctors that I went to, none of them would put me on a disability. So in entertainment industry, you don't have maternity leave,
right,
but you can get state disability because you pay into it. And so they wouldn't put me out, even though everything on the list, that I wasn't supposed to do was my job description. Don't be around steam. Well, I'm a costumer. I steam clothes.
Yeah. Don't lift a certain weight.
Lift heavy things. Don't climb up ladders, which we do all the time.
Everything.
Don't go up and down stairs. I'm like, well, the dressing rooms are
trailer,
upstairs. So it was great. My favorite. P.S. was my favorite. So anyway, so we're there, and they're saying that it's not labor. It's just Braxton Hicks, and the next day, I think our nanny called out sick, so we took Dawson. No, we took Dawson to swim class.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm just just trying to chug along at this point, at the pool.
And I keep asking her, are you sure you're okay?
And I'm like, I'm fine, it's fine. And he wanted to go to the mall, and so we're trekking through the mall, and I'm just like,
what did we go to the mall?
If I may,
don't
you're
even
essentially,
remember.
it's like keeping a pimple from popping. You're trying to hold this baby in at this point, right? Labor is saying it's time to come out, and you're like, I'm good. I'm good.
Contractions is literally just stomach cramps, essentially. So it's the same as eating bad Mexican food.
Doesn't it mean you're ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the Braxton Hicks are toning your muscles the whole pregnancy. So some people just, I had them my whole pregnancy. And it can happen if you don't drink enough water or if you're
training
doing too much.
So that's just one day it wasn't Braxton Hicks anymore.
It had turned and
wow.
I didn't realize, and I don't know how much you want to go into how babies are born.
Let's just get to the surprise of it all.
Okay. So basically I was ready. And so we put Dawson down to bed, and I got into bed. It was around 10 something at night, and I got one very big contraction that I reach over and grab his arm, and my water broke.
This is it!
Yeah.
This is it. And so the plan was either his parents come and watch Dawson, or that's the plan in general. They would watch him, but depending on what time it was when my water broke or whatever, like our friend Hannah, who lives closer to us, would come and either watch him at our house or meet us at the hospital at Cedars and take him back to the house until they can get there because they live in Sylmar and it's far. And so he calls his parents. They understand it's time to come. Like, we've got a go bag. Like, we're fine, you know.
Yeah, the bags are in the car.
But
So I figured something was
yeah, like,
gonna
we
happen
like
soon.
knew like it was coming, but he had just come home and talked about a coworker or an old coworker whose wife was sent back home 3 times.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
what
just
you
like,
hear every
Yeah.
time.
I don't want to be that person. It's my second kid. Like, I know what's happening. P.S. I was super excited for the epidural. You guys, I wanted it the
Oh, no, you
minute
didn't
we
get
got there, because the first time I waited till the last minute I could wait, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm like throwing up and convulsing because of the pain, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. And he's like, just give it to her.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
I mean, so I got it, fine. And this time I was like, I'm gonna get it the minute I get there. Like, I'm not even gonna wait.
Going on vacation.
I mean, so we call our friend Hannah. The call keeps dropping. No, she isn't answering. She's asleep, obviously, because it's past 10.
She didn't
She's a
answer.
normal human. And doesn't answer. And I go into the back of into our restroom to make sure, like, am I crazy? Like, did I just pee myself? That's what the pregnant people do. Like,
Right.
maybe it wasn't my water breaking, you know.
You're telling yourself anything in this
Exactly,
state, right?
yeah.
Sure.
And a few minutes into it, and I'm just yelling for him. I'm like, we're not gonna make it. Just call an ambulance. And luckily they're so close to us. And so he calls, but we don't have great service at our house, and the call drops. So then he calls again. And at that point, I think we just delivered this
We just
baby.
delivered the baby.
And
Are you
then
in the
he
tub?
went back.
Where are you? Where is this in the bathroom
It's
still?
in our so we don't have a tub in our bathroom.
Okay.
So it's just like we have a very tiny bathroom, and
right,
we're
but you're
just
on
in
the
it.
tile floor of this tiny bathroom
Basically,
or whatever. Okay.
yeah.
Nice,
I'm like
cool space.
right. I'm just like leaning up against anything I can lean up
All I
against.
know is
at
we need
this
hot
point.
water and towels. That's what I feel
Right,
every show
yeah.
I've ever seen.
So Dave pulls again. The bathroom is so small. It is smaller than the studio. And
Don't get any ideas, Alex.
I might move in right here.
She was going to pump on the air. We said, no, you can't do
I
that.
know, I was. So Dave's just like pulled the towels off the hook that are there and give them to me to wrap her up in. And he goes and gets a nasal aspirator from our son's room, and so we can get her to start crying because she wasn't crying at first.
Because you've been through all this before, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, we know, but also,
your parents
like,
are
I've
ready.
seen
You
TV,
know what to do.
you know,
Right.
yeah, like, we know they need to breathe. So we got that. We got that. I've delivered kittens before, you guys. It's fine. I'm a professional. Although he's getting all the credit. From that day on, he
I
got
don't understand why
all
I get
the
the credit.
credit.
All I did was catch.
All the credit.
Seriously.
Yeah.
All it was the baby's coming. I've got to like lay my arms out where I can
Don't
catch
let it
the
fall.
baby. Don't let the
Basically,
baby fall.
don't let it fall.
And then wrap it in a towel and hand it back to
Yeah.
mom.
But
You
I
are
think
so
it was
awesome. You know how many
within-
guys would have been like, I did my part?
No,
But I think
I didn't do anything.
between my water breaking
was
and
8
her being
minutes.
born, it was 8 minutes.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so we had
God.
That
enough
is so
time to-
fast.
That's
Yeah.
like a record short labor then.
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
enough
I mean,
time
Well, I guess there's
or
no
was
labor. It's
it?
just a delivery.
But it
Because
was
was
like
I in
2
labor for
days.
2 days? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
Oh.
You know.
That's
So-
right. I guess you were.
It was a quick delivery.
Yes, it was a quick delivery. And Dawson's delivery was quick. It was like 30 minutes once we really started to make it happen, you know?
For a guy with no kids, labor is essentially dilation, right? That's the point where we're
Yes.
like, I'm going to make this thing
Yes,
ready
so
to shoot something out
you
of
have
it.
to be a certain number of inches or centimeters dilated.
yeah, they're usually
No
10
one
or
has
whatever.
ever checked me. P.S. Both
No one checked
pregnancies,
her
no one's ever
both
checked.
times.
I don't know if that's a
Ever.
compliment. I don't know what that is.
I don't
No,
know
no,
either.
they've
I
checked
don't
her,
know.
but
No, they've
right
never,
before
no,
labor.
they've never.
They did ever?
They've never checked. I've had 2 children. No one has ever checked
I
to
thought they
see
just
how many
didn't check.
centimeters dilated I was.
I thought they
Never.
just didn't check before
Never.
labor.
Nope. Because here's the thing, you guys. My son was 2 weeks early.
News to me.
Right.
If they had checked me 2 days before at my appointment,
They know
I
how-
would have known that he was going to be born on Saturday.
Oh,
If
interesting.
they had checked me on Thursday, they would have known she was going to be born tomorrow.
Oh, but because
You
it was
can
2 weeks
gauge
early.
because
I mean,
how
you can sort of
much
gauge,
it's
how
open,
much,
yeah.
how much longer they think. I mean, some people stay at like 3 centimeters for 2 days, whatever, and then they induce, and then they make it happen. But
Yeah,
clearly,
those
I
people have
didn't.
no problem.
Yeah, clearly, I don't have the problem. So it was awesome. Ambulance finally got there. At this point, my son is
But I'm
like
just
in
thinking,
tears
hang
in
on,
his
can we-
crib. It's
I-
really loud. Yeah.
I have to be, everyone else at home is probably
Yeah.
wondering, so I have to be the guy to ask. Messy? It's messy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, everything
Oh,
that
yeah.
was in you is coming out of you,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kid
Yeah.
is just sort of one of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then so you
Do
also
you have a bath mat in there?
there was a bath
There
mat.
was.
That's gone.
There was a bath mat. Yeah. R.I.P. bath mat. It's.
Can
it
you
was-
ever move from this home now?
So
like, are
when
you
we-
Never.
permanently
so,
attached?
So here's
This
the
is
thing.
my childhood home that we bought. So now
Oh
we're
my gosh.
never leaving.
Yes. Yeah.
Never.
And
Oh,
we
wow.
get so the ambulance gets there. I've also delivered the placenta at that point, which is another thing you have to do.
What a champ.
Right.
So we're already frying
they
that up
bring
for when the guys get here.
No, we planted trees with them actually, with my sons and my daughters. So we've got a lime tree and a lemon tree.
You
My
guys are
mom
awesome. I've
planted
seen
a
pictures.
jacaranda. Yeah, it's really cute. They cute. So paramedics get there. They give him some scissors. They clamp. He gets to cut the cord at least. No photos, because like, what are we gonna do? Hey, can you take it? Thanks. So they
And
have
then
to
you showed
get
it
us
to
to the
everyone for the
hospital.
rest of your life. Is that
right.
your bathroom?
Right. So we have to go to the hospital because no one was there with us delivering this baby.
So they still
we
have to
get in
check
the
you out,
ambulance.
so you do whatever they
you'd
have to
think
do.
that. So we get in the ambulance, and David has Dawson with us in the ambulance, and I've got Dylan, and at that point the paramedic was like, "Do you want a photo?" And we're like, sure. So we give him my phone. Like, you can't see the baby because I'm just trying to keep her warm. Like, Dawson is like in tears because he has no idea what's going on.
This was not supposed to happen.
Not supposed to happen.
All our neighbors are out.
Just like watching.
Is she thinking, is she okay?
Right,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
oh, something horrible might have happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dawson
God, no.
calls ambulances Wii U's because of the sound that the siren makes. And so for the long time, it's like, oh no, Wii U, oh no, baby. And now it's fine. But we're in the ambulance, and David goes, well, we can never sell this house now. And I think because of the mess. And he's like,
Oh, like a Breaking Bad situation. No, the emotional attachment.
We have to
Yes.
disclose.
right, yes, a child was born in master bathroom. But I mean, then I realized he was being
Tiny
sweet.
master.
Tiny master. It's fine. I love it.
I think it's
Grateful.
remarkable.
Yeah.
I think it's remarkable. I think you guys are both probably stronger for it.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible.
Also, like, don't ever tell me I can't do anything. Like,
I get that vibe from you. You're
Yeah.
no bullshit.
I try.
I'm
I mean,
so grateful.
That's why we get along. Yeah, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, I guess, and my body's gonna do what it's gonna do. And even after the fact, pumping, like, I'm at work pumping on set while we work, and people are like, "What's that sound? Is that a cell phone?" And I'm like, "You know what it is."
I think it's
California
I think
state
the whole
labor
thing is
law that I
amazing.
get to do this here. Don't test me. Yeah.
I think that you guys are absolutely incredible. I think that the story is incredible. I think your Porsche stories are incredible. We didn't even get to your whole family history in Hollywood and
whatevs.
everything else.
That's fine.
Come back for that.
Oh, off limits. It's fine.
Oh, fine. Lovely. What is there anything that we should cover before you leave? Just because we're
Oh, I don't know.
running long on time.
I can't think of anything.
All right, 'cause we've
other
got
than
holiday
we're
announcements
really
and all that
excited
stuff we can talk
to have
about.
been here, and we love you guys.
We genuinely
Love
love
you
you.
too.
We genuinely love you guys. You know that I talked to you about like coming on in the beginning
Yeah.
when we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We still don't know what the fuck we're doing, but this is what it looks like now.
I know.
It
Should
looks
we
great.
have done a like disclaimer prior to this, like warning? We're going to talk about birth and like.
Oh, really? Well, no, I told him in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't
gave a little bit of
spoiler
a tease.
alert when you talked about. Was it Turner and Hutch or whatever you were talking about?
Turner and
Starts with-
Hooch.
what was it?
I tried
Turner
not
and
to,
Hooch?
yeah.
I mean, just spoiled the whole thing for me, guys.
Yeah,
I haven't
oh,
seen
no.
it since 1980, whatever year it came out, and
Now you know it takes place in Monterey.
now I know.
Okay, well, thank you guys so very much because we love you so very much. Mrs. Ryan,
Yes, sir.
this is it, right? We're done for the week?
Done for the year.
Got announcements to make. Hang on, we should celebrate. Hang on. Look at this. We'll see if that'll work. And in the meantime, it says go to the cards today. There we go. Bubbles coming in. Very nice.
Got bubble.
Happy holidays,
amazing.
everybody. Oh, and we should probably fire it all up. Go get this going here. All right. Ta-da! It's a holiday spectacular. All right. Anyway, I don't know what I've lost control of everything. There we go. Okay.
Just so funny every time.
All right. Let's see. We've got a bunch of thank yous, Mrs. Ryan, because it's that time of year. We should thank our sponsors. Huge thanks to Tony at Telefunken. Huge thanks to Ron Goodman at Product 23. Huge huge Tom Hanks, and a big thanks to Marco over at TLG. Who can take us seriously? This is ridiculous. Good grief. I think I left everything on a
It's
little
just
too
a
long.
cloud in me laughing.
Just a little too long. Marco over at TLG Auto Porsche Service, and of course Nicholas and Heather down at Hunziker Design. We also, Mrs. Ryan, should thank all of our guests this year. Oh my gosh, all of our guests. Period.
Great year
from you guys and everybody before you that people could see. Also to Jeff Zwart, G.I. Jennifer Nicole, Matilda Paulin, and Elise Marie Hannaford for all of their help on the PEC LA week that sort of was. We're hoping that this all takes place in 2020, and we are very much looking forward to it. It's a flip card. There's more. Kevin Lynch for being such a wonderful advisor to Mrs. Ryan.
Yeah.
Bob Reed and Tom Keeney for your help with Late Show 25. Looking very forward to 2020 with that. Oh, we didn't talk about Dave watches. Yeah, whatever.
Industry Shuffle. I'm excited for the new year. We'll know more then.
Yep. Perfect. Our families, obviously, and you at
you.
home, thank you so very much for watching. We very, very much appreciate it. Thanks for going along this ride with us. Like, it's a ride. Can you feel it now that you're here? Like, it's a weird.
I love it.
There's something.
I love it.
Bigger than whatever
Totally.
this is. And then for everybody at home, see you in 2020. Have a wonderful holiday season. I think some of the stuff we've got coming on for sure. When we come back, we'll have a new website. We'll have a merchandise store. There will be musical acts next year, live audience shows next year. These are all things confirmed. And one thing that we're pretty darn sure of is Mr. David Letterman sometime in 2020, we think on the earlier side. That's all I have, Mrs. Ryan. Oh, gosh. And a huge thank you, of course, to Mr. Ray Schaefer. If not already, please consider following Ray Schaefer for your backstage pass to Porsche, brand heritage, and travel-related material. That's Ray.Schaefer, S-H-A-F-F-E-R. We love you, Ray Schaefer.
Love you, Ray.
Alex and David. Alex and James, we love you at home as well. Alex and David, thank you both so very much for being here, our last guest of the year. Thank you for being our friends. We love you so very much.
You too.
Love you so much.
Yeah.
Mrs. Ryan, I love you.
I love you.
We love everybody at home. Please love one another, and we'll see you in 2020. Look at this.
So fun.
We'll do the long credits. We'll put the bubbles on and everything else. What a ride.
It's weird having bubbles and not having bubbles here.
It's bubbles.
Like, I get to. It's really exciting.
Everybody knows